Several years ago, I found myself in a tent at night in a snowstorm on the side of the highest mountain in the Western Hemisphere. And my lungs were crackling and filling with fluid because I developed high altitude pulmonary edema. And I needed to get down as fast as possible. But of course, it was the middle of the night in a snowstorm, and I had to wait till morning. Obviously, I'm here right now, so I did get down. But there was kind of a miracle in that evening, and it haunts me to this day that somehow I held on to this attitude that if I had the sort of the right amount of determination and, really the right attitude, I could still reach the summit, even in this weakened state. So I ask myself this question: why do we consider quitting failing? Why don't we see quitting as a skill to develop, a strategy to increase our options, and ultimately kind of something in our toolkit? So when we talk about biases to quitting are almost irresistible. Groups, teams, coaches, CEOs, governments have had trouble with the biases to quitting. So I'm going to give you three of them, and I'm going to start with this one. I think maybe you can have a show of hands or just maybe nod your head. How many of us have ever been in this situation where the little girl grabbing the toy from our brother, or the brother is trying to grab it away from us? And the toy itself has become more valuable because somebody else either has it or wants it. And I think it's a really great illustration of what's called loss aversion. So loss aversion is something that was developed in 1969 by two behavioral economists, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. And they found that the pain of losing something is actually psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something. So it's like twice as difficult to let go of something. Think of being on Aconcagua and knowing you have to go down, and you're like, the summit is right there. But, my life, the rest of my life and living is right down there. I couldn't totally see those two things because there was a bias that I was feeling that losing and letting go of the summit was actually twice as powerful as gaining my own life, which is sort of seems ridiculous. The final piece of this is to learn to quit faster, without emotion, without attachment. And this is when it gets really kind of tricky because decision making, any kind of decision that we make, requires action without complete information. And so when we stick with a course of action, we tend to do that because then we can find out for sure how things will turn out. As Joseph Campbell said, we must be willing to let go of the life that we have planned to have the life that is waiting for us. Thank you very much.